something to the caller and then resolve the answer later. So that return new promise says, okay, I'm going to return this promise thing, and the promise is going to have embedded within it a method that it's going to dynamically create for me called resolve, another one that I'm calling reject, and that's by convention they're the first and second arguments to the promise. I'm also, if you notice, using an arrow function to find this thing. So instead of doing a nested function like you normally would, I'm shortening a little by using an arrow function. So this is just like saying function resolve reject in here. It's a callback. So when the promise is ready to be run, it's going to execute this thing. And as I'm doing my work, when I'm ready to give an answer back in the called API, I call resolve and I pass it the thing. If it fails for whatever reason, I call reject and I pass it whatever I want to pass as the payload for a failure. So that's in what I'm calling. The caller, it will actually execute this thing, and let's assume this is called API call that returns this promise. And then there's a method called then on every promise. And in then you have two functions you can provide, one for the successful result, one for the error result. And now you have a way to chain that information back. And I'll show that to you towards the end when we look at a Node Express app that's using ECMAScript 6. I have it so that it's actually bringing back data through a promise. So you can see that in action. If you've done any Angular, this is relatively familiar. The nice thing is it'll be part of JavaScript itself. So one less thing that has to be non-native to work with long term. Generators are the one that I wrap my head around a little bit too late in the game, but basically generators have the ability for you to kind of start a function, put it to sleep, and pick it up again, and pass data back and forth to the caller. The best way you'll see these used is in iteration. So on